This is the grave of Arthur William Swanston, lieutenant in the Inniskillens Dragoons, which was a cavalry unit. He was shot during the Second South African War, or what we now today call the Anglo Boer War. This gentleman is a hero. What he did was he rescued Private Garlick off of the battlefield after Private Garlick had been shot, and that immediately makes him a hero, because there's no greater sacrifice than to sacrifice your own life to rescue another person. Now, an amazing thing happened is that this particular gravestone was shipped in from England after the Anglo Boer War. It was laid on this gentleman's grave. But an amazing thing, a year after the Anglo Boer War was over, a box of flowers arrived from England from a lady who had sent, without her name attached, who sent the flowers to the local postmistress, asking the postmistress to put those flowers onto the grave of Arthur William Swanston, who was buried in the cemetery at Chrissy's. Not knowing what it was about, the very nice lady from the post office came up in 1903, placed the flowers on the grave. A year later, another box arrived, this time with pink, 1 year pink, 1 year blue, and it went on until 1961. The flowers would arrive every single year, approximately 2 to 3 weeks before the 16th of October, and every year the postmistress would come up and she would put the flowers onto the grave. During the years, obviously, the townsfolk would then join the postmistress to come up and in actual fact put the box of flowers onto the grave. During 1961, a letter arrived with a box of flowers to say that unfortunately this particular lady had been the fiancée of Lieutenant Arthur William Swanston and had never ever got married. She was at that time in her late 80s and she was very frail. Possibility was that she was going to pass away, and that the box of flowers that arrived in 1961 would possibly be the last box of flowers that would arrive from England for this particular grave. But this is Chrissy's. Strange things happen with locals. The next year, the postmistress gathered a bunch of her friends together. They came up to the grave. They then laid flowers onto the grave, and that has now become a little mini legend in the town of Chrissy's, where every year local people come up to this grave and they put the flowers down in remembrance of the lady who lived in England, who never saw the grave of her lost fiancé in Africa. Now, this should have ended many years later. It's now 2007, and an amazing thing has been happening over the last 15 years. The local school in the town now gets together. The teachers have taught the young pupils to sing "My Bonnie Lies Over the Ocean." And every year on the 16th of October, if it is a school day, the school children march up from the local school to this grave, all of them carrying flowers. And today, this is the new South Africa, so the majority of these students are in actual fact black children. They march up here, they sing. On their way up, you can hear stand up here, the tour buses arrive, SABC TV arrives, and what happens is these little children march up here, they stand around the grave and they sing "My Bonnie Lies Over the Ocean," and they then place these flowers onto the grave. One of the local people then tells the story about Arthur William Swanston and how brave he was, and then everybody that is here, including the tourists, the tour buses, and any of the media people that are here, are then invited down to the hotel, where the tourism then gives them a free meal and gives them tea and coffee and so on. This grave is in actual fact the reason why the tourism industry has spent such great effort in ensuring that this graveyard is always presentable, is always neat. We actually put out quite a lot of money every year to ensure that this graveyard presents itself and the historical fabric of this particular town in such a way that it makes it attractive for the tourists who are coming to visit.